What's up, Copy Squad? It's your boy Kyle Milligan coming to you live from Delray Beach, Florida once again. Ready to give you some cool copywriting tips. I've got one that I'm kind of excited to share with you today because I just kind of figured it out for myself and put it all together, and I was like, I gotta do a live about this. So that's really exciting. It's kind of like a brand new revelation because I kind of got a scientific study that proves something that we've already been doing. So now it just makes more sense. So essentially what we're going to be talking about today is a copywriting tip that I'm calling the Imagery Hack. And the way the Imagery Hack works is it's going to highlight in someone's brain the good things about your offer or product and make them look more favorable and more real, while making the bad things seem negligible or even non-existent. Like they might not even appear on their radar, even if you tell them in plain English and you say exactly this bad thing could happen, then there's a chance that they still won't care. And I have some examples for you. Okay, so before we begin, we always talk about the big four emotions. This is like my claim to fame, right? New, easy, safe, and big. Wrote my whole book called Take Their Money on new, easy, safe, and big, and how they're so important to selling anything. You can go to kylethewriter.com/book and pick up a copy of that right now and get to reading immediately if you'd like. But what this technique is going to highlight for new, easy, safe, and big is definitely safe and big. It's going to lean heavier on safe, but you can finesse it to make it seem big too. So it's really useful because this one technique can take care of two emotions of the big four, and they are important AF. So let's start with one fundamental fact that needs to be stated, and that is that people cannot process data. Your brain just can't do it. Like, for whatever reason, I can tell you fact after fact after fact, but it will not ever compel you to action. Generally, it doesn't, unless I present the facts in a very specific way. And that's what copywriters are tasked with doing, is we got to take all these numbers and figures and facts and data and present it in a way that compels people to act. And that's what this imagery hack does, is it takes data that's out there, like numbers, percentages, things that don't matter, and it turns it into something that compels action. So, I don't know, I got some notes here. I'm not exactly sure which part I want to start at. I think I can tell you something like, I think here's a good example. So for instance, I've got like this is like my 62nd, 63rd video, right? And I believe 60 of them are 100% liked, like all thumbs ups. And I might be inviting some trouble from haters right now, right? But that means if you watch out of 63 of my videos, right, you can expect that 60% of the time you're going to learn something. You're going to whip out a notepad and you're going to jot down some notes. You're going to walk away with some information that can make you richer. You're going to walk away with something that will make you more sales, right? That's why people come back to the channel. That's why people watch these videos. That's why people enjoy this content. And that's why 60 of my videos have thumbs up, right? So that's incredible, right? So 60 out of 63 videos. That's a huge number, all right? So what that is imagery. So I've taken a statistical thing, right? And I could have framed it with percentages, and it would not have been as impactful. Now, I'm not going to give the reverse case because I know whether I like it or not. Even if I tell you exactly what's happening, it will influence your psychology. So I'm going to have to use a different scenario for a bad case. So let's talk about 63 strawberries, okay? So let's say you've got 63 strawberries. And for every 63 strawberries, you can expect 3 cockroaches, right? Something like that. So whenever you give it imagery, it becomes much more real. However, if I had to start that with, for every 63 strawberries in the world, there's a 0.03% chance that a cockroach might be there. The difference is your brain doesn't care about the percentage. And I already messed this example up. I already did it backwards. Let me go ahead and give you another good example, because I think I flubbed that one up. But here's another good one. Okay, there is a treatment for sick kids with a 0.001% chance for permanent disability. All right? Does that seem very significant to you? Does that really ruffle your feathers? However, What if I told you that this treatment for sick kids that can make them better causes 1 in 100,000 kids to become permanently disabled? What happens is when I label it 1 out of 100,000 is I'm giving it an example. I'm giving it an instance. I'm giving it something tangible that can create an image of a permanently disabled child in your brain. When I give it a 1 out of 100,000, you immediately jump your brain to that 1 out of 100,000 instance because you can imagine it. However, you cannot imagine 0.001% chance of kids becoming sick. That's imagery, all right? So whenever you do a 1 out of 100,000, you create a numerator. What happened is a scientific term called denominator neglect, all right? So what you can do with this is anytime something bad needs to be stated, maybe your legal department makes you state it. Maybe for whatever reason, like you want to offer transparency or a damning admission or something like that, frame it as a percentage, because the brain can't wrap its head around it. It won't even like process it. It generally won't even care, right? If I tell you that this treatment that can help sick kids has a 0.001% chance to permanently disable patients, right? So much less impactful than if I say 1 out of 100,000 kids who take this will be permanently disabled. So that's called denominator neglect. So what happens is people focus on the numerator. If there is no numerator, there's nothing to focus on. So if you give them the percentage, it's raw data, the brain doesn't care, you can basically minimize bad things, right? So again, if I can create some sort of imagery, that's why I tell you out of 63 of my videos, 60 of them are going to cause you to whip out your notepad, man, take some notes, because you're going to get something useful out of it. You're going to be richer after this, man. You're going to be able to write some sweet copy that compels people to action. And I won't go the other way with it because I know it plants the image, right? So again, there's a scientific term for this. It's called denominator neglect. I call it the imagery hack because that's giving an old thing, an old boring word, denominator neglect, giving it a cool name, imagery hack. Use something that they can draw up an image. Now, I'll tell you how Agora Financial has put this into practice. And we did it last year. And nobody really talked about why. We just saw that it was doing better, right? We're just like, okay, we tried this and now it works. We used to frame all of our gain claims as percentages, right? So if you had, because 1,000% gain is massive, right? It's 10x, I think. Yeah, 1,000% is 10x. So we would tell people, like, you can get 1,000% gain on this investment. And it wasn't nearly as effective as when we told people you can make $10,000 off of $1,000. Because people can't imagine what they would do with a 1,000% gain. But people can imagine what they would do with $10,000. So there's an image that becomes clear whenever you have something more tangible than a percent. A percent isn't tangible, it isn't real, it doesn't trigger imagery, it doesn't tickle my imagination, it doesn't give me hype. Alright? So don't use percentages unless you're trying to minimize something bad. Don't use percentages. Or you can use a percentage and then immediately reframe it. So you say, this is 1,000% gain. That means if you had put in just $1,000, you could have made $10,000. Okay, so you reframe it into something with imagery, and it's still just powerful. The more frames you can put on it, the more three-dimensional you can make a claim and some proof, the more powerful and compelling it will be. But smash like, by the way, if you thought that was cool information, learning about the imagery hack. So what we did at Agora, like I say, we changed it from percentages to straight up telling them dollars, right? If you put in 1,000, you make 10,000. So what else we've seen is nowadays, and this is how powerful denominator neglect is. So that means, like, okay, you get 10,000 as the result, and then let's say the denominator is 1,000, right? So 10 over 1,000 would be 10, right? So that's 10x. So what we've found is you can completely remove the denominator and they'll still buy. You can just say you'll make $10,000 and never even tell them the investment that they'll need, the denominator, because they're going to neglect it anyway. Their brain doesn't care. Their brain is imagining what will happen with $10,000 in their pocket. So that's called denominator neglect. Denominator neglect. And I call it the imagery hack, because I know if I want someone to really get hyped up about something I'm talking about, I need to convert it from raw data into something that their brain can begin drumming up imagery. Also, let me know if you have any questions or anything. Drop them right now. Smash like if this is useful at all. Definitely want to get that like count up to a bajillion. All right, I don't think I have much else to say on the subject here. We've got a little bit over 10 minutes in. I'll give it a second to see if any questions or anything comes through. But yeah, that's my copywriting tip for today. When you're selling something, frame it in terms of instances, okay? Frame it in terms of instances. If you got something bad to talk about, something you don't want to highlight, frame it in terms of percentages. Now, unless you're selling out, if you're selling out, use instances, right? All right, so one example was 1 out of 10,000, 1 out of 10,000, let me try this. 1 out of 10,000 violent crimes is caused by like mental patients who are off their meds, right? So that's versus like this idea. Well, I'm gonna mess this one up too. You could say like 1 out of 10,000 crimes is caused by mental health issues for people who are off their meds, right? So that sounds like, oh, we need to get tighter on mental health issues. We can't have, or we could say murders, it's even stricter. So basically, if you're trying to highlight the bad, if you are trying to highlight whatever you're trying to highlight, even if it's bad, if you give it an image, if you give it a specific instance, what they call a numerator, right? 1 out of 10,000. It could be a super small chance, right? Dude, more warning for lives, Robert says. All right, man. Well, to recap, new, easy, safe, and big. We're kind of highlighting something that can really hammer down on safe and big. My whole book, Take Their Money, is based on these 4 big emotions. You can get it at kylethewriter.com/swipe. Sorry I didn't give you more warning. On my Instagram, it's all99Kyle, ALL99 Kyle. Could you type that into the comments? My Instagram handle, all99Kyle. I'm going to try to do that to like be like, hey guys, I'm going to go live in a minute and like let everybody know. Just punching in the email on my MailChimp app is a pain. I can't just like whip out my laptop all the time. So that's a pain. So it's just like, it's kind of difficult. But yeah, watch the whole video, dude. I think it's pretty good. It was an exciting thing for me to learn because I realized why writing in dollars instead of percentages for our promos has been so effective, because it's imagery. You can create instances and imagery and stoke that imagination. Percentages do not stoke the imagination. They don't compel action. They don't get you thinking about what you could experience or what could happen, right? So the issue I was saying is like 1 out of 10,000. Let's say 1 out of 100,000, because violent crimes are from like mental patients who don't have their meds or something, right? Versus if I say mental patients like this have a 0.001% chance of harming other people. That seems so insignificant. But if I say 1 out of 100,000, you're like, all of a sudden you completely neglect the fact that 100,000 is a massive number. That's how terrorism works, right? Terrorism creates this imagery in your head. It could be like 1 terrorist attack per zillion years, per zillion per capita. But when I hear it as 1 attack per 500,000 square miles, I don't care about the 500,000 square miles. I'm worried about the terrorist attack, right? So that's how terrorism works. If you want to highlight negative things, if you want to scare people, and I'm not saying you should, but I want to put it in front of you so you know when you see it. When you see these scare tactics, anyone who wants to scare you, terrorize you, the media will do it. They'll use a denominator. They'll say 1 out of 100,000, and you'll completely neglect the 100,000 because the 1 dreams up an image. If they wanted to play it down, they'd cite percentages. They'd say, oh, terrorism has a 0.001% chance of happening in your area. Doesn't seem very significant. Doesn't even seem plausible anymore. But if I say there's a 1 in 100,000% chance that a bus blows up at your house or something like that, or in your neighborhood or something like that, you will freak out, man. You'll be terrified of every bus. So that's it, man. It's the imagery hack. If you can just give it some imagery. So like I was saying at the beginning of the thing, 63 videos, I think. Maybe this is 64. I'm not sure. I've been spitting them out like crazy. I could be on like 65 or something by now. But, yeah, man. Out of all those, dude, 60 of them are all thumbs up. Or maybe 61. All thumbs up. That means if you watch my videos, 60 of those videos are going to make you whip out your notepad, start scribbling down notes because you're excited about making more money with your copy. So that's the benefit that I offer you. That's why you should subscribe. That's why you should smash that like button for your boy, because that's the benefit, man. It's going to get you in there. It's going to make you more money. It's going to get that wallet fatter. It's going to get you that remote lifestyle, right? So you can kind of just sit around and go live and do whatever the hell you want. Right? That's what I do, huh? All right. So anyway, any other questions, guys? I'm about to sign off. I think that's my value for the day. Yeah, man. 60 out of 63 videos. Dude, you sit down 60 times. If you sit down 63 times, 60 of them, you are going to get some awesome value. Imagery, baby. Imagery. I'm going to help you get richer 60 times. All right. Thanks so much. Thank you. Love the thumbs ups. Yes. Appreciate you, homie. I'm actually going to sit here while these things pile on, dude. What else can I talk about? Dude, I got to make sure that you're in on more lives. All right. Thanks very much, guys. That's it for your boy. Peace out, Copy Squad.